Hey, Brian.
Let me ask you a question, Rhodes. Have you
What's
guys
up?
been running an archivist investigation on the side?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to understand this, Rhodes.
What's up?
When you swore the oath, is this archivist shit a game to you, or are you fighting crime?
What do you mean, is it a game to me?
I'm just asking, because here's what I just learned, and tell me if any of this is inaccurate.
Okay.
I was just told by the lead in Shift 1 that y'all have been actively working the archivist case with 0 reports, and they haven't been reached out to once. So I'm
Which lead? Which lead?
Riker.
Riker hasn't been reached out to once?
Has been reached out to today?
I don't know about today, but the whole context behind everything is Miller had approached a few days ago, spoke to Riker. Riker said he'd speak to Sparks.
Could you come down to the courthouse? Let's talk about this.
We can do it over the phone.
Rhodes, here's what I'm looking at right now. All right. And I want you to genuinely think about this for a second.
Okay.
We have folks in all 3 departments who've been working this case for a minute, right?
Okay.
Endless hours, right? And I get approached by one of them that they just learned that LSPD had been working this.
There's no had been at all.
Hold on. Had been working this, whatever it is that y'all been working on the last couple hours. I know it's been going since 2:30. And they knew nothing about it.
I'm sorry. They knew nothing about what?
Well,
Brian, what did they know nothing about?
They were not notified once that y'all had been working on this side by side with them until the twat went out.
There wasn't an investigation prior to. Miller was sent a link, went through with everything. There was a location.
Rhodes, let's not.
Everything was documented.
This sounds so fucking slimy. It really does.
Slimy?
No, I'm telling you how I feel.
Answer this. Why was Miller told no?
If you disagree, that's fine. If you disagree, that's fine. But hear me out. All right?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. Thank you. There are a number of individuals who have been on this case in all 3 departments. Okay? If there was a issue and a concern that you're bringing up now, you're the fucking chief of police. You could have called me. You could have called him. We could have resolved it.
What do you mean? We did speak with Riker.
What do you mean we spoke with Riker?
Well, primarily Miller, but I was present. Miller expressed interest in getting involved in all of this.
When did this conversation happen?
2 days ago at the BCSO.
Okay. Did you then go to the primary investigator?
No. From my understanding, well, hold on. Let me finish. From my understanding, the way everything was supposed to go was Miller spoke with Riker. Riker said he'd speak with Sparks. From my understanding, this is secondhand information. He spoke with Sparks. It was a yes, but needed your approval. You said no. Do I have that right?
No.
Okay, so what part of that was wrong?
There was... So firstly, let's have a conversation, you and I, instead of making a spectacle. Oops.
Hello?
Let's start by not making this a spectacle. Do you want to meet somewhere and have a chat about this?
We are having a chat.
Okay. Are you interested in putting on a show?
No, there's no show here, Brian.
Okay. So let's start by meeting face to
Brian,
face.
the information is going to be
No.
shared. What does it matter?
What matters is I'm asking why you decided to be the chief of police.
It's irrelevant.
And I want to no, that's exactly the question. Because when I took this oath, it was for serving and protecting the state. However, your actions right now, including the spectacle that you are deciding to put on display so that these people can listen to everything you are saying right now, this is a spectacle. This in
How is
and
it
of
a
itself
spectacle?
is a spectacle. Because this is not a conversation between two heads of departments. This is something else, and it's fucking nasty.
How is
And
it
is
nasty,
just
Brian?
contributing. It is contributing to an environment in law enforcement that should be considered unacceptable. So let's have a conversation, you and I, where things broke down. Or do you want to call
Brian,
the
a
entire
conversation with me isn't going to help.
How is it you're the chief of police?
Brian, I'm not privy to everything that's been going on regarding this. A conversation with myself and Miller, sure.
Rhodes, I'm very look, playing word games.
Brian, what
isn't-
part of this are you upset with?
I am upset that I have investigators that are fucking really upset. Why? Because their colleagues, their fucking comrades, all right?
They're
Decided, no, listen to me. Decided not to even take any of their concerns and bring him to them, right? As far as if it is actually true that he was reached out to, you don't think that Miller could have picked up the fucking phone or Maxwell or yourself and called and say, hey, this is happening? Instead, I am left with individuals that aren't even in my department that are fucking like, I don't even know I'm supposed to face them. I said, you know, what the conversation was with Miller in regards to Miller is that there has been history of this kind of behavior. And we said, let's see how he is on the peripherals and bring him into the case along with everyone else, right? Nobody should be excluded from cases. That has never been the case once. And I think going and approaching the way that you guys did today is fucking nasty. It really is.
How
and
is it
I'll explain why it's nasty, because all these other investigators who've been working the case are now sitting back wondering why they were not communicated to. I hope you understand this.
Brian, I wasn't the one who told Miller no.
This isn't even about telling Miller no, man. Do you think it would not have been appropriate within the last 3 hours to have at least communicated?
There's no way one of your investigators didn't look at Twatter.
Brother, Rhodes, just hear me out. You know, this isn't
Just a heads up,
this
Miller's
isn't
getting
just
a call from the Archivists.
this isn't just SASM. It's all three departments are on the fucking case, bro. Do you not understand this?
I do understand.
So
But
why
Brian,
do you,
the information is going to be available
You
to them.
just said your investigators. I'm not even involved. I am overseeing this to make sure people are working together.
Don't know what to tell you, Brian.
No, what I want you to do is try to communicate with me as a human. This is not a LSPD versus the SASM thing. This is a question of how we move forward.
If you want my honest answer, Brian, I would love for Miller to be on the case, which is exactly what we attempted to do the other day.
This is bigger than that. Wait, what do you
How
mean
is it bigger than
attempted?
that? Did you not hear what I said earlier? We specifically went to speak with Riker because a month prior, Miller reached out, was told he'd be reached back out to, and got nothing for an entire month. I'm informed of this 2 days ago.
Okay, who's having
ago?
these conversations with you? You know, he's had access You realize he was never removed from the case.
I don't know about that one, Brian. But removed is okay. Removed versus left to begin with. Yeah, I can understand the difference between that. But he expressed interest in participating again. And Riker said he'd go to bat for him. Seemingly spoke with Sparks.
Can we go back a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because now we're gonna do this thing where, you know, where it turns into a game of telephone of like he said, she said, goalpost gets moved. Let's talk about today, right?
Okay.
Do you think it was reasonable for no one, for those who are working this case that are very privy, why was Riker not spoken to today? Let's start there. Do you think that's right?
I cannot answer that. Because I got on duty and I got Miller. Okay.
So it was just Miller doing it by himself.
No, there's a group of individuals. When I got on duty, I got a call from Miller.
Were they members of command and high command?
Some, yeah.
Okay. So this is your department, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you see anything wrong with that?
I see the image you're trying to paint, Brian. And I think you believe this was done with like malice or something, but that's not the case.
Okay. If there is a murder investigation, is it reasonable for two separate folks, knowing that the other is working on something, to work on it separately? I'm just
Brian,
trying.
I want to fall within the parameters you've said of let's talk about today, but it's difficult when that line of communication was shut down when he was told no.
What line of communication? Yeah, because you're.
I think hey, I'd like to participate in this. And then again,
and he was given a path forward. I see. Here's a problem. Here's how I feel. Right. I feel like this is a belief that we said fuck Miller specifically. Let's go punish him. Is that how you interpret what happened?
No. Repeat that.
Do you think that Miller is being punished?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Can you explain why?
If he wasn't removed, I'm going to assume that there wasn't necessarily anything I'm going to say inherently wrong with what occurred. He just may not have agreed at the time with what was happening, right? He then expressed interest in rejoining.
Okay.
He reaches out a month ago.
I know I'm
repeating to, I believe, Riker. Riker informed him that he'd reach back out, and then there's been nothing for an entire month. Now,
what is there to do a month ago? Is there anyone? See, this is okay. So, my first question is going to stem from here. I'm hearing Miller, right? So you're hearing all this from Miller, and you're taking it as fact, right? At what point, if there was a concern, do you go to your go through your command chain to get this resolved? Because here's the thing, this Miller's interest, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. The only time it was brought up that Miller is showing interest again was a few days ago.
And a few days ago would have been the conversation with Riker. Yep.
Correct. And the timeline of a month ago isn't relevant.
It was corroborated by Riker.
Hold on. Isn't relevant because there was no activity.
Even if there's no activity, would that not be the perfect time to take additional people on?
Well, you would go to the primary. Okay, so Riker is assigned for shift 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in every shift because this goes around the clock. Okay. And as was communicated, Miller was going to be onboarded in because he unfortunately has had a history that has caused Brandy to herself, and you can confer this with Ruby, went to Ruby and ourselves and said he's not writing anything down. We're losing evidence. All right. And to the extent that arrests that needed to be made could not be made. As such, bringing someone that has had a history of screwing the case over was told he is going to need to show that he is responsible enough to be taking the steps before he can be fully onboarded. Otherwise, as he did in the past, will start to unilaterally work on the case, and now no one can work the case because, number one, you don't get all the information, right? Because it's a very complicated case. If all the things aren't not being written down, there are holes in making sense of the evidence. The next issue becomes a Rhodes violation. Because if a officer is doing something on their own accord, it cannot go to trial. You understand that, right?
I fully understand, yes.
Okay. So as such, he was given a path forward. Now,
what was that path?
I just explained it, which is he is going to work alongside until the time comes where there is enough trust in him as an investigator to work on a case, to work on this case. That conversation took place yesterday. Irrespective of how you feel about whether or not Miller should be on this case, which was in the purview of SASM as per our mandate, as per the, I think, 30 to 40 separate reports that they have been working on for some time that go well beyond these puzzles that I think that I understand was worked on today. I don't even have a full grasp of what buttons and what challenges or whatever was put forward. It does not discount the fact that law enforcement should be communicating. If there are these disagreements, that's when folks like you and I get together and have those talks. Right? Not now. Not after a problem gets exposed. These things need to be solved in advance.
What I can say, Brian, is that when I got on duty today, I immediately got a call from Miller. I was informed that he was provided I think texted a link.
Okay.
And it was puzzle related. So I began assisting with that. And I was also informed not too long ago that the no came from you. I don't know if that is an assumed no.
Why not approach me?
Brian, I literally got on duty, was immediately thrown into this.
You said that this came across your desk a while ago.
No. This would have been 2 days ago at most.
Okay. So why not approach me?
Because Riker stated he was going to reach out to Sparks, the I guess lead.
Okay.
And then the answer to that was it had to be approved by you. And
this creates communication problems, right?
I agree, Brian. I do.
And that's how we end up here. That's why I am calling you directly, because I am not satisfied with this, and I think this creates a very fucking toxic environment. This is going to be shit.
Don't necessarily know that I would. I would
is going to
agree
be
that
shit. Riker is fucking like, man, I heard it in his fucking voice. I got to look at these other people and wonder how the fuck I'm going to face them. Because other people that have sworn the badge, against criminals to work together are now not even fucking talking to each other. It's fucking gross. And it is your job and my job to resolve it. Because we can't continue working like this, Rhodes. We can't.
Brian, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. But prior to today, I can't stress this enough, there was no investigation. Riker was informed of everything that had been provided to Miller.
We cannot be shift blaming to Riker here, right? This is the head of the LSPD and the head of SASM talking right now. Riker is just a deputy. He's a sergeant. You and I are high command.
Agreed.
We should not be pointing at Miller. We should not be pointing at Riker. We are high command for a reason, because we have been given this responsibility over them.
Brian, here's the thing. I am not going to tell any one of my officers to not look further into something that they're being provided, right? Miller has put forth a solid amount of effort into trying to be involved, and again, was shot down, right? All I want is for Miller to be involved. He was involved pretty early on.
We should have that conversation. I'm talking about now, man.
Well, we are having that conversation.
I'm confused. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. You wanted Miller involved. I had to call you to start this conversation, right?
Correct, because Miller was trying
to... And that 3 hours, this guy and your officers are working a case in parallel with the BCSO and the Marshals somewhere else over a case that involves concerns over the state. At any point, any individual could have been like, hey, I received this too.
Right, but Brian, no one was attempting to hide it.
It was hidden for 3 hours.
It was not hidden.
How?
There's a difference. You're acting as if it was intentionally done, in the shadows.
Explain to me how this wasn't hidden for 3 hours. Explain, because maybe I'm missing something.
Okay, Brian, do you think we would just 311 channel 4
and
not expect? What was that?
I would expect you would call the other individuals that you knowingly know are on the case. Am I being unreasonable? Like,
no,
if I know,
not necessarily.
If I know, Rhodes, you're
Brian,
working on something, right? And I notice that one of your suspects is on the ground, I'm going to pick up the phone and be like, hey, Rhodes, we got this guy in custody. I'm not going to say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go pick this up and continue on as I wish. It seems pretty standard.
I agree. I certainly agree with that.
And that's why I'm calling. That is
aware.
Riker became aware 10 minutes ago. Are you saying Riker was been aware for 3 hours?
Brian, we've been on the phone for damn near 20 minutes. It was not 10 minutes ago. Riker was aware the moment we found it, in fact, because he was on the radio.
So you're saying for the past 3 hours, he's been aware?
No, that did not come out of my mouth.
Why are you, brother? You know what I'm saying, and you're finding ways to like. Okay, so he found out 30 minutes ago.
Correct. The puzzle got completed. The location
from the Archivist.
No. Well, yes. Maybe ? No. I was answering the prior stuff. Brian, what I'm saying.
This is very sad. This conversation, Rhodes. It really is.
Brian, how is this sad?
It's unfortunate, man. It really is.
Brian, all of the information is going to be provided.
It's you're playing games. You really are.
I'm not playing games, Brian.
No. Look. Rhodes. This isn't a game of who's going to win a gotcha argument amongst each other. This is a matter of us having responsibility collectively over 300+ law enforcement officers and wondering every time they get on duty, are they gonna have what they need to succeed? This isn't about me. It isn't about you. It's about having an environment where we can collectively fight crime together. All right?
Agreed.
And if you know, we can't even have a very straightforward conversation about some of these problems without trying to play semantics to win a very open conversation, I really don't know what the goal here is anymore.
Brian, it's hard to listen to you say together when an overwhelming majority of Marshal investigations are locked down. And I can understand why.
Which ones? Which? Go ahead.
The Archivist, the one we're referring to right now.
The Archivist has all 3 departments on it. All 3.
Okay.
All 3.
And Brian, what access is required to see any of those? Just answer that question. What access is required?
You get the tags, which
Okay.
is open to all 3 detective units. In fact, your chief of police, all right, has the document with the SOPs on how to get access to it, which, mind you, a conversation in which that same question was asked with me, Frost, and him in the vehicle, in which he claimed, I'm not interested because the faceless is kind of just like, those kind of cases don't interest me, and I don't want my detectives to be on it because the criminals decide how it goes. I'm not going to try to tell you what he was trying to say, but it was like it's like a fucking movie, and he wanted them working murder cases, but he's got it. It's a classified SOP document.
Brian,
in fact, your own husband asked the very same question, to which I stated that his detectives, the ones in the department, are very much open to get involved. Every single one of the cases, it's written down. He's got the SOPs. The classified SOP document is shared with everybody.
Okay, but Brian, we're back to the point where Miller, who's expressed interest over a month ago,
it's back to Miller.
Waits patiently. Well, yes, this has to do with Miller. Miller was the only one who originally expressed interest in
Brother,
wanting
let me
to
ask you a
assist.
question. Let me ask you a question. Are you the fucking chief of police?
Yep.
Is Pred the chief of police?
No, not anymore.
He was, right?
Okay, but that wasn't the question.
You
said is. He was fired.
That's fine. He was the chief of police 2 weeks ago. You're the chief of police now. You were the ass chief previously. These aren't complicated questions. So, if these issues existed, is it not reasonable for there to be a conversation about those issues? Because right now, it just sounds like I'm hearing a lot of justification that, hey, these things happen because I heard in the hallways and via telephone, so let's go do some like some shit like this. That is something.
I think we, again, I understand where you're coming from, Brian. I do. Okay. But it wasn't exactly as a result of I know you're going to say that I didn't reach out, but again, the timing of everything here didn't really present said opportunity. Prior to me getting on duty an hour and a half ago, however long it's been, maybe 2 hours.
Okay. All
the
right.
last I heard was he was waiting on a response from you to see whether or not
brother,
you'd
you're
approve.
not his fucking dad. Like,
you're right.
This is such a strange conversation. You're not his
How
fucking
is it
dad.
a strange conversation?
Well,
Okay,
'cause
and you're
this
not
is-
Riker's dad. So why do you care
I'm
that
not
much?
Riker's dad. Holy fucking shit. Okay,
don't-
I'll go
no,
ahead and
no.
explain. I'll explain to you. It's fine.
Okay.
If I'm just a little taken aback that it needs to be explained. There are about a dozen investigators on this case that have worked dozens of hours. And none of them were reached out to. The case in and of itself is in the purview of SASM. Are you aware as to the why? Let's start there. And because I
no.
feel like there's a lot of critical. Okay. So, do you believe that your high command is aware?
I could not tell you, unfortunately.
Okay. The archivist is potentially going to wipe our financials.
That
Has
would be very fucking
anyone,
bad.
have any of your detectives mentioned this to you? Because they're aware. And I know that previously you made the statement that Marshals have locked everything down. I recommend you search the tag for faceless. You'll find that 90% of the stuff are regular reports. There's very little stuff locked down. It's also in the newspaper. It goes to the newspaper so that the entire city, to some degree, has general knowledge on it. So with that having been said, my concern isn't Riker. My concern is the collective of all three departments who have been working together not being communicated with by members of a singular department's high command and command structure. When there is active situation transpiring.
So, just to get this straight, if Miller had called Riker and said, "I got a text with the link. I'm gonna see things through," there would have been zero issue.
I don't think so, because now he's directly involved. That's like, it would be the same as if the 5 people were working, I don't know, the fucking Grove Street families.
I'm not, to be clear, I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about when he received the link.
Yes, because that's fucking basic knowledge, yes? Like, why would it be treated different than any other freaking scene? And it's like asking, like, am I going to get backup if I go into Grove Street because 5 other people are working the Grove Street case?
So I guess to revisit a question I previously asked,
can I ask you, what makes you think that if Miller was reached out to the archivist, that anyone would be like, no, go fuck off? Like, why would, let me ask you that question back. Why would anyone do that?
I mean, I don't quite know. I don't quite know. I'm not Miller.
No, but you're his chief,
side.
And there's
Correct.
a high command, and there's command.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
it's the same as asking if someone was threatened on the damn phone, but they weren't working it's very strange, right? Like, I mean, listen, if you guys want the case, we can just give you the damn case. If it's going to be
not
like
about wanting
this.
the case. It's about Miller wanting to assist with the case. But every time I say that, you say,
It's not
well, this
just
isn't
Miller.
about Miller.
But it's
I
not
get
just
it.
Miller. You've got
I get
5
that it's not just Miller.
You got like 5 cops that have been working this for 3 hours with zero communication with the other investigators. This is so beyond standard, right?
I will reiterate that regardless of what has happened, everything that was located, found, whatever, will be in a report. And will be accessible to any of the investigators.
I am addressing a much deeper issue than that. This is simply a situation that has occurred. What you are saying is an unacceptable response. Because we're talking about basic procedure. Which, if someone is working a case, some number of individuals are working a case. Doing a unilateral, like, zero communication side effort is not conducive to anyone's investigations.
How is it not conducive to
How
an
is it not
investigation?
Let me, because I know...
Brian, it'd be different if we were sitting here like, we're conducting our own parallel investigation and everything's going to be hidden. Yeah, absolutely. That is very fucking problematic.
That's... Okay.
But Brian, this is no different than me responding to a 911 and finding a dead body with a, I don't know, let's say there's a murderer who leaves something behind every time. Me documenting the scene. This is quite literally no different. The information will be available.
No, it is different. That's not relatable at all.
Brian, did you not give an example about a murder earlier in our conversation?
In the example, the identity was found and you call the person immediately.
Brian,
yes.
We had found it and Riker was on the radio.
When did he get on the radio? After the twat went out, about 2 hours, 2.5 hours later. I'm
Brian,
telling you
I couldn't tell you when he joined the channel. It had to have been very shortly after it was 311, within, I would argue, 60 seconds.
I saw the 311 go out. What I am telling you here is that this was happening for about 2.5 hours without his knowledge, without the knowledge of any other investigator that was working that. Do you see this as an issue?
I mean, I can definitely see where problems could potentially arise. Yeah. Brian, I'm not sitting here and saying this is the most ideal solution.
Why is it I'm not solution? Maybe the problem that we're having with this conversation is that your guard is so high up and that your conclusion has already been made. That over the past
Brian, I've been given reason time and time again to have my guard up.
33 minutes on this phone call, you have been nothing but deflective, coming up with excuses, and have not even provided a solution. Because I think you want
Brian,
this.
I did. Take Miller onto the investigation. It's as simple as that.
No, that's an ultimatum, you dumb fuck.
No, it's not.
It quite literally is. He's been given a path, which is like he's already been given a path. That's quite literally an ultimatum.
As far as I was aware, he was just told no. After Spark
Rhodes,
said yes, but it would require your approval.
You're a fucking adult, right? The leading on your low-ranking officers and such happened in order, like, you need to. You can solve
Brian,
this. You're the chief.
You can't continuously tell me we're not talking about Miller when all of this, damn near all of it, is about Miller.
I said we got to find a solution, and your answer to it was just bring on Miller. Are you following the conversation? You said it. I said we got it. Brother, you brought him back up. I didn't bring him back up. You did. I said, what's the solution? You said the solution is bring back Miller.
Yeah, Brian, I don't have people who are interested in cases all that much aside from Miller right now.
Excuse me? What about Aaron?
Well, I'm talking specific to this situation. Since this is what prompted everything.
Okay, what about Brandy?
What about her?
You said no one's interested in the archivist. Like,
no one has approached me aside from Miller.
So no one has do you know what's happening in your own department?
Most things.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not around 24/7. I don't have an all-seeing eye.
Okay, but you've got procedure. You know how to, you're responsible for building it up. Who's running your detective unit?
Well, there were 3 names before, but then we decided on Opal.
Okay, so you don't...
Hold on, Brandy.
Okay, so you might have a detective unit.
In the works. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know you're the biggest department, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't know who your detective... Who... Do you have a detective unit?
Very much so. Work in progress.
Okay. Do you think maybe that might be the starting point of the problem?
Why would that be the starting point?
Well, you know, normally things like organization is probably one of the key things to success for any, entity.
Right.
And without a detective unit, who do you go to know, how would you know who's working on what case without a unit, without someone responsible for overseeing
Well, Brian,
the cases?
if I'm being honest, I wish I could have a solidified answer for you, because we do have a bolo titled "Investigations: Who and What."
Okay.
And there was a situation about a week ago, maybe a week and a half, referencing Faceless. So just to get more information, I go and look, and it says Opal and Maeve, right? I call up
Okay.
Opal, and the first thing I hear from her is, "Oh, I was taken off the case." I don't know why. Don't know why that happened. But that left
Did you
there
ask?
being a.
Do you know she's back on the case? Do you know this?
I was made aware at the end of the shift meeting today.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know that people can be suspended from cases?
No, was not aware.
But you've been a cop for like 6-7 years. You
That is
know
correct,
about this
yeah.
concept, right?
Mm,
You've never in your 6-7 years of tenure understood the concept of suspending someone from a case.
no. That's not what I'm saying. Things are just a little different before, because previously people would be suspended, but they wouldn't lack the information or the reports or the access to, rather.
That's not true.
That is absolutely true, Brian.
Okay, well,
When could you ever lock someone out of a report in the past?
Because
If we're referring to 5-6 years ago,
I'll explain. Yeah, 5-6 years ago, we called it the investigative reports that were a part of SCU. That was also MCU, the detective unit, which had access to investigative reports, and suspensions were doled out. And suspensions could be for a number of things. One is for other reasons, like for non-detective reasons, people get suspended. They would lose their cert. Once you lost cert, you didn't have access to that information.
that'd be a suspension from pretty much the entirety of the department.
No,
I say department, sir. You're right, sir. But
correct.
Typically,
I mean,
you would not lose
K9
access
unit?
to the actual reports. Yes.
No, you did lose access to the reports.
No.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, that access
Brian,
level existed.
there might be a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
When you said lose or like you're no longer on the case, essentially, or being suspended from the case, I was not
Okay.
perceiving that as you are suspended from, let's say, CID and whatever the hell it's worded as. I was perceiving it as you're still within said department, but you're not working this specific case anymore. In which case, they'd still always have access in the past.
Look, I don't know what to tell you here because I feel like we're getting into the weeds. You heard that you looked at a document that I don't even know if anyone uses anymore, in which you spoke to Opal, who was suspended for about a week due to a number of reasons, and has since had her access placed back in, and you don't know any of the why, which is
Correct. Yeah.
okay.
I genuinely have zero idea. All I know is that when I had approached Opal, she had mentioned that she is like she was taken off of it or something to that extent.
Yeah. What is? Do you think? I am very concerned to be honest, for a number of reasons after this call.
Brian, I get that you want communication regarding these situations. If I'm being honest, I don't really know that if Miller had reached out to Riker and said, hey, I got this, I'm going to follow through with it, if anything realistically would have changed. Like, if this is a... Sorry, go ahead.
I think that I would hope that LSPD has a command structure that ideally starts to invest in more into the policing side of things instead of tea-sipping and, you know, fucking this kind of bullshit, right? That just festers. Oh, it does. Festers with a lot of drama, whether it's like this Ruby versus, you know, Maxwell bullshit, whether it's, you know, I mean, brother, it's fucking bad. Motherfuckers like run on that train every fucking 2 seconds. Like, right? Because like if the chief of police is concerned about someone like 6 ranks down and doesn't have basic answers to these things and they're making decisions uninformed, that is a institutional issue. Right?
Brian, you're painting this out to have been this like well thought out thing. That's not the case at all.
It is that's what makes it even worse, because I think it is not only common sense, not only is it common decency, that if members of your department who are high command and command are aware that there are investigators on a case and they come across some information, that they communicate with the parties involved. But unfortunately, it kind of sounds like there is so much of this fuck the Marshals that unfortunately that I do think that you have succumbed to a degree, that the people paying the price are those that aren't even Marshals to begin with, but are rather investigators that just want to come on duty and investigate. But instead, they're being pit against each other because there is no communication at the top. We can solve these things, but it's going to require that when you come across these problems, you call me, you call Frost.
Brian, I don't want to reach out to you in every situation. My expectation.
This is not every situation.
Well, okay, but Brian, I need you to understand. Well, hold on. Let me finish.
Yeah.
I need you to understand that from my perspective, when I was approached about this a few days ago, when he said he was going to reach out to Riker, that was pretty much the extent of it. I was actually there when he spoke with Riker. And so I thought everything was just going to be dealt with there. There was literally, Brian, I'm not kidding. There was no update until, I kid you not, after all the puzzles and stuff had been solved in this situation. That's when I was informed by Miller that he was told no. That's how it was worded to me.
Do you understand my concern that there's members of
Brian,
command and high command?
If you are ignorant to some of that,
if you're ignorant to some of that, fine. But I'm hoping that you can, you know, that you can recognize that there are members of command and high command that partook in this.
Yeah, I can recognize that. Tell you what, those SOPs that you sent to Pred and he seemingly threw aside, can you send those my way? Because I was not made aware of any of that, nor do I know if anyone else is aware of that.
I will gladly do so. However, I also want to understand, and would like a report of everything that transpired today, as well as the actors, because this needs to stop.
What do you mean a report of all the actors?
Of everything that's taken place over the last 3 hours with every officer that was involved, and what exactly just fucking took place over the last 3 hours.
For what reason, Brian?
Because
you'll get the report.
For what reason?
Yes. For what reason?
What? Because it's an investigation?
Okay, but Brian, you're not wording it as, make sure everything is documented. The way you're wording it is very specific to like...
Because we need to bring all of them into a fucking room and figure out what the fuck happened.
What is there to find out? People were solving puzzles.
Brother, you know this is a fucking terrorist, right?
I'm aware.
Okay, are you aware
Why
that
are we
these
not glad that the solution was found quicker?
I can't, like, are you understand? You keep throwing these, like, random, like, quips out, like, like, do you recognize that without knowledge, when you take action, you don't know what it is that you're about to embark on? Do you understand this?
Yeah, I can understand that.
Okay, so why are you asking me that question?
I think that primarily stems from the fact that like every time I hear that there's communication, it doesn't sound as bad as you're making it out to be.
How would you know when you're completely like half these things? You're like, I don't know this, I don't know that. This doesn't sound this doesn't sound that. Someone said this, someone said that. Didn't call you, didn't call that. Like, what the fuck? Like, hello?
Well, during our call, I believe Miller got a call indicating that there are, and again, I couldn't hear the other side, but based upon what Miller said, whoever it was, which I would assume to be Riker, said something along the lines of, "There's no issue with like a parallel investigation, blah blah blah." I don't know. I don't know, Brian. I don't know.
This call is about procedure. This call is about communication. It is not about anything else.
And just to verify, the SOPs that you gave to Pred,
which
I'm assuming outlines,
by the way, he signed off on, which is the funniest thing.
He signed off despite saying there's not going to be any involvement?
After he reapproached it, yes.
I'm going to bash my head against the fucking wall.
This is, I mean, what's your state ID?
1303.
Let me see. I've got all the shareds on here. Let me see. You can go through each and every one. Look, we've been trying to, I don't think you understand, Rhodes. And Frost is my witness. He fucking jumped out the fucking thing, wanted to put a damn gun in his mouth. I did tell him to start his detective unit 6 weeks back. That's what he decided on Opal. Said, stop fucking pushing her to the fucking side and treat her like shit. Just like y'all have been Ruby. And it's still not done. It's been fucking 4 or 5 months. Why? Because we need points of communication. Brian Knight, you, Matt Rhodes, cannot be solving each and every one's problems.
I agree.
Right? All I'm asking here is for just some common decency and communication. Because whatever might be going on perceived in your mind or maybe communicated to you about, like, does not need to be LSPD BCSO versus the Marshals. That is not a healthy place to be. You and I can have issues. Me and Pred can have issues. Myself and Frost can have issues. But we should not be inducing that to the rest of the department. It's not good. And, you know.
Okay, Brian, if I'm being honest with you, I'd likely be considerably more willing to speak to you if it wasn't for your position. So hypothetically, assume you were not the director of the Marshals and you were instead Frost, and this issue stemmed with, again, let's say it was an investigation that Riker was leading specific to the BCSO, blah, blah, blah.
Can I just pause you just real quick, just
Yep, go
for
ahead.
my own clarity? Just because, based on what you said, is this why you haven't been, or is this
No.
Okay.
No. Again, Brian, I'm not kidding when I say this. Most of what happened today literally just stems from everything sort of happening concurrently. Because again, I wasn't even aware of the actual no. Because the last I heard from Miller's involvement was, again, yes from Sparks, waiting on your approval. So I was just assuming he was in limbo.
I really hope that people have enough, like, like life experience to not run on pure fucking speculation. You know what I mean? Like, but go ahead. What were you going to say about the position?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's becoming. Before I say this, Brian, I want you to know that I understand that from your perspective, you are going to have a very different stance on what it is I'm going to say. However, with me primarily being in shift 3, I have heard quite a bit regarding some of the conversations that the marshals have been having. Across all shifts, shift 1, shift 3, not so much shift 2 specifically, but regarding the general, I'm not going to say behavior, but how things have been perceived from people across both departments, both LSPD and BCSO, regarding all of the questioning stuff that, again, likely has to do with, me being questioned by the marshals, which, again, understandable. I get it. I'm
sorry. What are we?
Brian, let me finish. I'll make it quick.
Yeah. Okay. You've lost me. Is the only reason I'm interrupting.
Okay. I'll TLDR this.
Yeah. I don't know what he's
public
referring
perception,
to.
and when I say public, I mean by members who have personally encountered people in the situation that I'm involved in, have not had good encounters, if you will. I'm not going to sit here and say there are bad actors or people acting in bad faith.
I'm sorry.
Regarding all the questioning
you're losing me on
my
the
situation. I'm telling you,
you're talking about the interviews revolving the Pred being made as chief.
Correct.
Okay, I get that. That's why I was confused. I didn't know what you were referring to. Right. Okay.
Well, I would hope
continue.
Nothing else.
I mean, we were very busy. That's why. Right?
Fair enough. I mean, fuck it. It might as well talk about it now. I was informed this morning that Odette Swan was interviewed by, I believe, Blunt? Question mark.
Okay.
And became not happy that she couldn't have an attorney.
Joe, thank you, gifted sub.
In the situation. And then the sort of like veiled threat. I don't consider this a threat personally, to be clear, because if it's voluntary, you can leave, much like I did before. But the veiled threat of like, and if you don't answer, we're going to write a writ and get you to answer on paper, essentially.
Okay.
It is not good, especially considering there's also the situation with Opal. I don't know if it was Blunt or Sparks that did Opal's. Opal keeps referring to it as having been like voluntold, because as soon as she inquired about an attorney,
I can speak to you on this.
Okay.
Let's first establish something that, let's start by doing this.
To be clear, I understand they're not defendants.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not going to argue that. But my concern stems from the fact that they don't know that.
Do you think, let me ask you a question straight.
Go ahead.
Do you think high command should be restricted from corruption like the old days?
Yeah, I should.
Okay.
Or I do, rather.
Okay. We agree. And unfortunately, I'm in a shitty position being that authority that needs to make sure people are doing it in line. And I do not have the special equipment that people did back in the day. Right. So I'm just going to shoot straight. My job, my mandate does not have the special equipment that used to exist. And our job is to ensure there is no corruption. It's a very tough job. It's a very difficult job.
It's almost no different than being a judge where you're never going to have 100% of parties be happy.
And so that's inherently by design. And I agree. If there was a mandate similar to back in the day, I'd be very happy because I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. In fact, your ex-chief was a big proponent and demanding that we do this very thing.
Which portion? Don't mind me asking.
Well, IA, anti-corruption, ensuring government entities aren't doing corrupt shit. Unfortunately, corruption is pretty deep in law enforcement. And let me ask you, did you finally have a chance to read Pred's case?
I never went through the deposition, so it's hard for me to say. Was I present for most of the case? Yes.
Rhodes, do you have any stances? Are you sure about anything?
I mean, again, I'm not going through fucking deposition.
No, anything, like just anything.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Other than,
but again,
Miller
I need you to understand.
No,
Brian, I need you to understand my position here. Given your position.
I'm saying just in general, it can be very difficult to have like a conversation, right? When no one has any stances, really. It's just feelings, or I don't know this and I don't know that, right? Like, I mean, think about it for a second. Okay, some people are giving you, and correct me if I'm wrong here.
Okay.
Is that you believe it is difficult to converse with me because of my position, because of some of the feelings people have communicated to you. Is that accurate?
Not in its entirety, but mostly, yes.
Okay. Is that logical?
And also how I've been, well, additionally also how I've been approached by marshals.
Okay. What do you think the alternative is for an agency that is investigating potential mishaps and corruption? How can it be handled?
I think the most ideal solution would be ensuring that there's some form of garrity warning, I guess, because from my understanding, that does not exist. And so it makes the employer versus like criminal aspect of things very difficult to address.
Okay. However, but right now we're not talking about new tools.
Right.
Based on the tools that exist.
I don't know. I can tell you in my case, and I expressed this to...
But Rhodes, wait, we can't avoid this because...
I was answering. You just interrupted me.
Okay, go ahead.
In my case, I didn't like the whole situation where, damn near 10 people walked through double doors as I was about to go 42 and then got corralled into an interrogation room and told that it's a voluntary interview. That did not sit well with me, and I did express that with Blunt. Honestly, most of the issues that I've had with marshals or things that I've heard other people having issues with marshals stemmed from the treatment from marshals. Even if there's no bad intent, how people perceive certain things is something worth considering. And when the people who have specifically inquired about attorneys are told that they cannot have one, when they're told that, that is never going to be perceived well by anyone. Even if it doesn't have any criminal, related stuff, and they're not defendants, it is kind of just like the expected norm that in almost any situation you can request an attorney. And so a lot of it just has to do with
feelings.
Truly just the fact that the way certain things have been handled has been off-putting, maybe not necessarily wrong, legally wrong. It's more so I guess a moral thing.
How moral with what? It's corruption, brother.
What's corruption?
These are investigations.
Yeah, but okay, in my situation,
what do you mean by
I can
moral? What do you mean by moral?
Again,
because morality doesn't, like, we swear an oath to the Constitution,
right,
by which there are laws.
Yeah.
And as per, your feelings cannot subdue an investigation taking place. Is it gonna feel bad when you're being asked questions? Yes.
No, Brian, I didn't even have an attorney. I'm not even arguing that point on me. The only reason I was unwilling to have that original conversation with you and Blunt was because of how I was originally approached. And it's not to say that you yourself were aggressive. It was just the fact that 10 people walked in all at the same time.
Here's the thing. I don't want to get into the depths of that conversation in particular, because you brought up other people's cases, right?
Yep.
And I'm still failing to understand the logic here, right? Because the initial premise that you made was, because this is all stemming back to a very simple thing, which was there was plenty of opportunity for your command and high command to contact investigators on the Archivist case, and they were not spoken to, right? And this then went to, well, I am unsure why people are or are not involved. This then moved back to the procedure that I am concerned with, and think it creates a very toxic workplace environment when individuals are not communicating. And then the topic went to, when I asked, why do you not bring these concerns to me, right? If you believe there to be concerns, you said that you hesitate in doing so because of my position. Am I generally accurate right there?
Generally, yes.
Okay. So now the evidence that you're kind of putting forth, and not, this isn't a court case that's taking place, but rather the way that you're arriving at that conclusion is because of Opal and Odette, right? And you perceive that there is a alternative means by which people's feelings could be placated. The problem is you have yet to provide a alternative means by which to do these things. Because
I thought,
right?
I thought it was obvious. If someone wants an attorney, why not just let them have one?
Because it is logistically foolish, and outside of that, there are only so many attorneys, and there is a simpler solution, which is people should be writing reports in good faith. Right?
What is the what report?
What do you mean, what report?
I'm confused.
You believe
the writing reports in good faith,
because this, like, okay. So my understanding here is, I'm following your line of logic, right?
Okay.
It's hard to communicate with Knight because of his position, because two individuals wanted an attorney. And so if they get an attorney...
No. That's not everything.
Okay.
It's also considering the active investigation against me.
Maybe you should have led with that, right? So
I thought I did.
if there is an active investigation with you, does that mean you stop communication?
No.
Okay, so
But as I said, I'm considerably more hesitant to speak openly with you because I don't want any of what I say to be misconstrued or taken a certain way as means of trying to like build a case against me.
Isn't that why there's recordings?
Couldn't tell you, Brian.
That's why I do recordings, because we can walk away from this conversation and I could simply go around and say that you said you wanted to, I don't know, you wanted to fucking blow up something. You could do the same. That's why there's recordings. People lie. That is why a recording exists, such that when it goes to court, people hear both sides of it, and if a question is misconstrued, it isn't lost. It's why we've had this standard for a very long time. It's why we do it with everybody, including victims, when possible.
I don't know, Brian. It's until that's all concluded, it's I have to be sort of I guess overly cautious, especially considering the nature of said investigation.
But you do recognize that you're effectively stating this entire conversation is my disappointment over members of LSPD command and high command failing to communicate upon receipt of information from the archivist with individuals that they know are involved to work a case. And if this behavior continues, it hurts everyone, regardless of the department. And there are much more mature ways to handle these situations than doing slimy, backstabby shit, which I'm not going to say that you had involvement, because if what you say is true, you came in, you didn't know what was going on, but that doesn't
make the original situation right. I get it.
Correct. And so I'm going to hope that after this conversation ends, that you figure out what the hell happened so it doesn't happen again. Because if today this situation was not just a puzzle, which is unfortunately a very reductionist look at it, tomorrow it's going to be something much more serious. And little quabbles getting in the way of law enforcement upholding their oath is not it.
Solution, Brian. Should this occur again, where Miller is contacted, and say Riker is around, is it sufficient for him to call Riker, potentially get together with Riker, or is that too far? Is that going to be deemed
no,
he's too close?
Look, brother, like I don't know what kind of horse shit you've been fed, but I'm going to use the Faceless as an example, because the amount of crying and just like shit that I've heard about the Faceless and people not being involved is so fucking brain damaging. I don't even know where to begin and end. And I'm going to use this as a reference. 90% of Faceless situations are quite literally involving the majority of the police department. As with other major cases, occasionally there will be information that is deemed sensitive, as with any other major investigation, and that information is then limited to the primary investigators. Just like the investigative reports that exist for the LSPD and the BCSO detective units. That information is kept because there may be You don't want the general law enforcement to be aware.
Right.
Right.
Understood.
And so just as with any other investigation, people are not allowed to be involved. In fact, there's the list of investigators, and there's a list of about 24, I forgot what they call it in this particular case. Like I don't know, the people that do the stuff on the ground, right? So you got investigators, and then you got those that are tapped in enough that they could do the street level stuff, right? So to answer your question, yes, it would not be any different than anything else.
Sorry, I was taking a look at something else because I think a few things need to happen. I think the sort of public-facing investigations list needs to be updated so that people do know points of contact for investigations. But additionally, identifying who's primary, especially if it's a Marshals thing, and more kept under wraps and not as simple as just looking up a report because they may not have access. So I'm not sure if
this is not a Marshal thing. Archivist is very, very, of anything else, quite literally involving every department.
I know, but when I say Marshals, I'm not
lose my mind.
To be clear, the reason I'm saying Marshals related is because of the sort of barrier to entry being Marshals, realistically, right? Like if Sparks was the lead, additionally, having access to the actual reports, we cannot, while yes, there are people in the BCSO and LSPD who are involved, like understand from our perspective, in order to get approval, if you will, it has to, in some capacity, go through the Marshals. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there?
Of course, because it's quite literally our mandate. That's like
yes, but
right.
The reason I bring it up, Brian, is for no other reason other than identifying a point of contact. Because realistically, was Riker even the appropriate point of contact for Miller? Probably not. It was probably Sparks, given everything. But again, it's difficult to know. I'm looking, and the Archivist thing that we have, again, a lot of this could be outdated. This was from August of last year.
Bro, this is fucking
Archivist,
it's killing
it's listed
me,
as
man.
Ruby York, Brandy Lynn, and
I just, the level of incompetence is, I don't know
how outdated that is. I have no fucking idea. But
Rhodes,
we should.
Rhodes, I like you, but brother, you have an entire fucking department. You have a functioning email. You have a phone that works. You have a bunch of people in high command, right? When you don't have answers to something, that's where communication comes in, right? Just like I'm doing right now. I asked myself, what the fuck is going on? And I picked up the phone and called you, right? That's why you need a detective unit. So when you're like, man, what's going on? Or man, we're missing information. What you do is you don't wait and say, oh my God, where's the info? Or who's this and who's that? You call, right? And if you don't know, like, you know, at what layer it is, you call the damn director, right? Or you ask Riker, yo, who's on it? This is just very, very common, basic communication.
I think we have a difference of opinion on that. While yes, that is a solution, I think an easier solution is keeping said document updated, so that there are points of contact. Because assume you aren't available and something happens. There's very obviously in that situation going to be a delay before information's relayed.
What you're describing is something in lieu of communicating.
I mean, Brian, your name is literally on this list, and there's a reference report stating that this report was updated by you.
What are you referring to?
30475. It's a report. It's currently listed as a BOLO, so it's accessible to literally everyone.
So what does this have anything to do with? Wait, what the fuck is this even?
I don't know, but if you reference the 31955, it specifically indicates see report 30475 updated by Brian Knight.
Okay. This is this document is 2 months old, as I said when you first brought it up a while ago. This is not kept up to date. Do I think it's a good idea? Fine, but that is not
It doesn't excuse the.
It is not a replacement for communication.
Yes, I agree. We're talking about two different things, though. This is identifying who to communicate versus what I think you're referring to is the actual communication, say a call from Miller to Riker saying, hey, I'm looking into this.
If you need a new engine, do you need a document to tell you who sells these engines? No, you pick up the phone, you look in the yellow pages, you call someone that might be a mechanic, and you communicate. Are there more efficient ways? Yes, but it is not a replacement for basic communication.
Brian, again, we're talking about two very different things. I'm essentially asking for a, this is the equivalent of a fucking PD Lemon List ad for who to contact regarding specific stuff.
I agree.
I'm not saying it's a replacement.
I am agreeing with you that this is something that can be done. Yes.
Okay. Because I think that should be done because this is very obviously outdated and hasn't been updated in a while. Which, hold on, because I don't know a lot of the points of contact regarding a bunch of these things. And then did you share that report with me?
Send me, I'm going to take care of all that stuff right after this.
Okay. If you need my state ID, it's 1303.
Okay.
And I will also ensure that anyone potentially looking into any of this stuff is informed to reach out specifically to whoever is looking into archivist stuff, whether that be Richard in shift 3, whether that be Riker in shift 1. I don't know who is the point of contact for shift 2. Would that be Sparks?
Are you talking about Archivist?
Yes.
Listen, we'll get something updated.
Okay.
I'm not trying to dive into the weeds right now when we have a problem very surface level, right? All
right, there we go. So I was just writing this down. All right. Was there anything else?
We need a report. We need a solution.
That will happen. I was the one to find it, by the way. And I've literally been on the phone since.
I would like to know from you that this kind of thing doesn't happen in the future and how it did today. Think of it as an action after action. Doesn't need to be a report. I just want to know how the fuck this occurred, because these kind of things cannot happen regardless of it, whether it's this case, whether it's another one, or how we're going to move forward with this, because this is this was wrong in so many different ways, right? So
all right, Brian, like I said, I've already told you, I will ensure that anyone who's involved does actively communicate with any of the people involved, whether that be Riker, Richard, Sparks, or I don't know literally any other name. But ultimately, I will ensure that they are communicating with them to let them know that they are looking into things or they have been texted.
No, they will work with the investigators.
I mean, I don't have an issue with that.
It's not even an issue. I want to make this very fucking clear. This is a state level matter, and there is no if, thens, or buts. They will work with the investigators. Doing otherwise is grossly fucking negligent. This is not a video game. This is quite aware. This is not a, yo, let's solve some fucking puzzles. This is a active investigation that will not be impeded. And I think you know very clearly, and I want to make it clear, this is not a threat. This is not an ultimatum. I am describing something that is very basic and taught to fucking cadets. Nobody should be impeding anybody. There is no, I am going to go work on something on my own accord. That is absolutely, this is absolutely just counter to how law enforcement works.
Okay. Brian, I don't know if it was just like an off the cuff thing, but I don't know that anyone can be accused of impeding in this situation.
The statement that you made is if anyone's going to be working on this case and will then just, you know, let them know that they're doing it is by definition impeding. You don't have three people.
Okay, Brian, do me a favor and define impede, because there's no delaying. No one's being prevented from doing anything. To be clear, I agree with you, Brian. It should be alongside the other people. I'm not saying that that is not the case.
Holy fuck.
But the hypothetical I want to present here is, if no one is around, how do you suggest they move forward? Because I think this is something worthy of addressing. I think it's unlikely.
I don't know if I can have a solution when I know that a bunch of people went off and did whatever the fuck. I don't even have the answer to that. How would I have the answer to that when I don't know fully which law enforcement decided, instead of speaking with the main investigators, which they are privy to, right? Opal should know. Maxwell should know. Miller certainly knows. I don't even know the full capacity of who worked on what, right? And this all stems back to the initial problem. Miller, all right? I'm going to use Miller as an example here of why these things are needed. Miller decided to investigate the archivist on his own accord many months ago. You know where he wrote everything? Nowhere. Brandy did. She wrote it in a notebook. And he went so far off the reservation that they never even pressed charges on Shang, the one individual that had actually gone and taken Miller's text records illegally. It had gotten so bad because he kept taunting the individual on Twitter that when something new came across and we tried to bring Brandy in, her words were, "I am getting anxiety from this. I don't want anything to do with it again." It was a very unfortunate conversation that I had with Ruby on the matter. And we understood. All of this culminated from individuals that were playing patty cake and refusing to write any reports, refusing to communicate via those reports to everyone involved. And in turn, suspects were never arrested. The Rhodes violation came into light, right? And so if there is any
I get what
actions,
you're saying.
if there are actions that are taking place in the moment, that is one thing. But to unilaterally, outside the scope of and purview of the active investigators that are working very hard on it, like, you know, it needs to be within their lens. There cannot be multiple chefs. People need to make executive decisions. And if they don't have all the information and people are using their feelings to make decisions for them, it's not law enforcement anymore. It's not an investigation. It's a sham.
Sorry, I was taking a look at something. Got it again. I get where you're coming from, Brian. So here's my promise to you regarding stuff moving forward. Obviously, I'll take a look at whatever SOP that you had brought up and make sure that is implemented. Um, and then again, in situations similar to what happened today, anyone looking into it will be required to get together. Again, if available, I can't stress that enough. If they're unavailable and something happens, we can't sit here and, you know, draw hypotheticals of a million different things that could happen. But in those situations, they will get together with whoever is on the case and try to work it alongside them. Even if they are not officially on the case, I say officially as in like, uh, sort of like cleared by marshals type stuff, to have like full access to reports and whatnot. Uh, I will still ensure that they speak with, again, in this case, Riker. Not just speak with, but get alongside.
Or Sparks, or give me a second.
Right. But you know the gist of what I'm saying. It's the only example I could give in the moment. But yes, anyone who, which again, I think is why that document would be pretty important to be updated. But yes, any of the actively involved people.
Okay. All right. We should probably get off here. I think we've been chatting for 2 hours. Something's got to give.
Phone ticks back over to 0 and starts over.
In future, please, for the love of God, if there are issues, concerns, don't. Rumor mill is a waste of time. Call me. I'm literally around 14 hours a day.
Bless your heart.
And please stop making me do y'all's job for you.
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean.
No, Brian, I'm not kidding. Don't hang up because I don't actually know what you're referring to. Please. Which job?
I am being asked to do a lot more than what I'm doing right now. Don't make that happen. I really don't want to do it. Fix the fucking department and stop putting your dick in corruption.
I'm not putting my dick.
I tried to be as